Imagine Europe in the year 1000, a land blanketed by vast forests, dotted with small, isolated villages and only a handful of cities. The landscape is wild and untamed, with nature dominating the horizon. Life here is slow, shaped by the rhythms of the earth and the changing seasons. Most people never travel beyond the boundaries of their birthplace. Their entire world is the village, a close-knit community where everyone knows each other. Their lives are ruled by the cycles of planting and harvest, and the passing of the seasons marks the passage of time. Spring brings hope and hard work as fields are sown with seeds. Autumn is a time of harvest, celebration and preparation for the cold months ahead. Winter is a season of waiting, when families huddle together for warmth, relying on what they have stored. Power is local, held by lords who rule from wooden forts or imposing stone castles. Distant kings are little more than rumors to most villagers. It is the local lord who decides their fate. People work the land as serfs, bound to their lord's estate. They cannot leave without permission, and their labor supports the manor and its household. This is feudalism, a rigid system of loyalty, duty and obligation, passed down through generations. Everyone knows their place, from the lowliest peasant to the highest noble. Knowledge is precious and rare. Books are painstakingly copied by monks in candlelit scriptoria, and only a privileged few can read or write. For most, stories, songs, and the words of the village priest are the only sources of wisdom and news. Oral tradition shapes their understanding of the world and their place in it. The mighty Roman Empire is now a fading memory. Its once great roads and buildings are crumbling, slowly reclaimed by the forests and fields. Yet, beneath the quiet surface, change is stirring, subtle, almost invisible, but growing stronger with each passing year. The population is slowly rising and the climate is warming, making it easier to grow food. Viking raids, once a constant threat, are becoming less frequent, allowing villages to prosper. More people survive the harsh winters and villages begin to expand, with new huts and fields appearing at the edges of old settlements. A new energy is building, like the first light of dawn, spreading across the land, promising hope and transformation. Europe stands at a crossroads, poised on the edge of a great transformation that will reshape its future. The quiet, familiar world of the year 1000 is about to awaken from its long slumber. Soon the High Middle Ages will begin, bringing new towns, bustling markets, and the rise of powerful kingdoms. The old rhythms of life will be disrupted, as innovation and ambition take root in the soil of tradition. New opportunities and challenges are on the horizon. Trade, technology, and ideas will begin to flow across the continent. The seeds of change are already sown, quietly taking root in the hearts and minds of the people. The medieval world is about to be reshaped forever, as Europe steps into a new era of growth, discovery, and transformation. The first great change began with the land and food. Milder weather and longer growing seasons meant more crops and fewer famines. As food supplies grew, so did the population. People cleared forests and drained marshes, turning wild land into fields. Generations worked together, expanding villages and creating new farmland. Communities grew stronger through cooperation and shared effort. Health improved, families grew, and villages became crowded. For the first time, there were more people than the land could employ. This surplus would drive people to seek new lives beyond the farm. The agricultural revolution set the stage for the rise of towns and cities. Europe's landscape, and its society, was being transformed. More food meant more possibilities. The quiet countryside was becoming a place of change. New technology fueled the transformation of farming. The heavy iron plow could cut through tough northern soils, but it required teamwork. Villagers pooled oxen to use it. Fields changed shape, becoming long strips for efficient plowing. The three-field system replaced the old two-field method, allowing more land to be used each year. Crop rotation increased yields and provided food for animals. Horses, with new collars and horseshoes, began to replace oxen, working faster and longer. These innovations made farming more productive than ever. More food supported growing towns and cities. The landscape of Europe was reshaped by these tools. Farming became a community effort, not just survival. Technology and cooperation went hand in hand. The rural world was changing rapidly. The stage was set for urban growth. With more food and a growing population, not everyone was needed on the farm anymore. As agricultural techniques improved, harvests became more reliable, and fewer hands were required to work the land. Younger sons who would not inherit family land and landless villagers began to look for new opportunities beyond their rural homes. Many packed up their few belongings and set out in search of a better life. They followed ancient roads and winding paths to growing towns that sprang up near castles, monasteries, and important river crossings, places where people gathered for safety, trade, and worship. Markets soon appeared, drawing in skilled craftsmen, blacksmiths, carpenters, weavers, and many others, who set up shops to serve the needs of the expanding population. Houses clustered tightly together for protection, and sturdy stone walls were built to defend against bandits and invaders. Towns offered something rare in the countryside: freedom. A serf who managed to live in a town for a year and a day could claim their freedom from feudal obligations. These towns, often called burgs, created a new kind of society, one that was neither noble nor peasant, but something in between. Merchants, artisans, and shopkeepers formed a new urban class, bringing fresh ideas and skills to the heart of the community. Townspeople began to govern themselves, setting their own laws and electing councils. Independence and self-rule became highly valued. The energy and excitement of town life drew more people in, as news of opportunity and freedom spread across the countryside. Crowded, noisy, and sometimes dirty, towns were engines of change, buzzing with activity and new possibilities. The old feudal order was being challenged as towns grew in wealth and influence, shifting the balance of power. Towns became centers of trade, innovation, and cultural exchange, connecting distant regions and people. A new way of life was emerging, filled with festivals, markets, and the constant hum of daily life. Europe's future was being built in its bustling towns where hope, ambition, and change thrived side by side. Towns became hubs of trade, connecting Europe to distant lands. Wool, wine, spices, and silk filled the markets brought by daring merchants. Guilds formed to protect trade, set standards, and train apprentices. Banking innovations like bills of exchange made long-distance trade safer. A new middle class, the burghers, rose to power, their wealth based on trade and skill. They built fine houses, sent children to schools, and valued hard work. The middle class challenged the old order of nobles and serfs. Townspeople shaped the economy and culture of Europe. Trade brought prosperity and new ideas. The marketplace became the heart of urban life. Guilds and merchants drove progress. The rise of the middle class changed society forever. Europe was becoming a land of opportunity. As towns and trade flourished across medieval Europe, kings began to gain new power and influence. The growth of commerce brought wealth and opportunity, changing the balance of society. For centuries, kings had been weak, often overshadowed by powerful lords who controlled vast lands and private armies. These nobles held real authority, while monarchs struggled to assert their will. But as towns grew, townspeople and merchants began to support strong kings who could protect trade, ensure safety, and unify laws across regions. Their loyalty shifted the balance of power. Kings used tax money collected from prosperous towns to hire professional armies, loyal only to the crown. This allowed them to break free from dependence on feudal lords' knights. Educated officials, often from the rising middle class, were brought in to help run royal governments. These skilled administrators made the king's rule more efficient and far-reaching. The king's law began to replace the patchwork of local feudal rules, bringing greater unity and fairness to the land. Centralized monarchies started to form: England under William the Conqueror, France under Philip Augustus, and the Christian kingdoms of Spain all saw their rulers grow stronger. The old patchwork of lordships and small territories gave way to unified kingdoms, each ruled by a single, powerful monarch. Kings built national armies, established common laws, and fostered a sense of shared identity among their people. The balance of power shifted dramatically from the old nobility to the monarchs, who now commanded respect and authority. Towns and the middle class became key allies for royal authority, helping kings to govern and maintain order. The modern nation-state was beginning to take shape, with stronger borders and centralized power. Europe's political map was being redrawn as kingdoms expanded and consolidated their territories. The age of powerful kingdoms had truly begun, setting the stage for the Europe we know today. The church was the center of medieval life, shaping every community. It marked life's milestones: birth, marriage, death, and set the rhythm of the year. The Pope in Rome claimed authority over all Christians, even kings. Excommunication was a powerful weapon, threatening a king's rule and soul. The church was the main source of learning. Monasteries preserved and created books. Cathedrals rose across Europe, their stained glass teaching Bible stories to the illiterate. The church ran hospitals, gave charity, and tried to limit feudal violence. Religious courts governed marriage and inheritance. Faith was a public, shared experience. The church's power was absolute, touching every part of life. Art, architecture, and knowledge flourished under its influence. The church shaped minds, souls, and society. Medieval Europe was a world of faith. In 1095, the Pope called on Europe's knights to capture Jerusalem. The Crusades began, waves of soldiers, pilgrims, and adventurers heading east. Some went for faith, others for land, wealth, or adventure. Crusaders created short-lived Christian kingdoms in the Middle East. Though they failed to hold the Holy Land, the Crusades changed Europe. Returning crusaders brought new goods, ideas, and knowledge. Contact with the Byzantine and Islamic worlds broadened horizons. Trade with the East boomed, Italian cities grew rich. The middle class gained power as trade expanded. Many nobles died or sold land, strengthening kings. The Crusades accelerated Europe's transformation. A distant war reshaped society at home. Europe became more curious, connected, and ambitious. The High Middle Ages from 1000 to 1300 transformed Europe. A poor, fragmented land became dynamic and confident. Agricultural and technological revolutions fueled population growth and urban life. A new middle class emerged, driving trade and innovation. Guilds, banking, and markets laid the groundwork for modern economies. Strong monarchies replaced feudal chaos, building the first nation-states. The struggle between kings and the church shaped future debates on power. Universities and contact with the East sparked curiosity and learning. Cathedrals and art showed new ambition and skill. The era was not dark but a time of rebirth and progress. Europe awoke, setting out on the path to the Renaissance. The seeds of the modern world were planted here. The High Middle Ages was Europe's great awakening.